Be it any job, any field of expertise, any company, these 5 skills will massively improve the success rate of cracking an interview. This is my personal framework, which I would like to call the PEARL. 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 What does that mean? Let's start with P of the PEARL. P stands for patience. Be patient. You know the auto-generated email that we get, right, when we apply for a job position in a company, right? Thank you for applying for this job position. We will review your application and get back to you within 15 business days, 20 business days, or whatever. Most likely, they will not respond to you within that time frame. That's a fact. The main point here is during that waiting period, you should be kind to yourself. What do I mean by that? When I was applying for a job, and I used to be in this state which I would like to call drunk the poison state. You have taken that first step of applying for that job, which means that you have drunk the poison, but you are not hearing back from the company. We have drunk the poison, but you are not dying. That state, that restlessness we have, that you get into the loop of thoughts of why the company is not responding. I used to check my phone every now and then, my emails, if there are any calls or anything, right? So for the first time in my life, I used to hate Friday evenings because I know for the next 48 hours, I'll not be able to hear back from any company that I have applied. And I used to get very excited for Monday mornings because I know I stand the chance of getting a response from any of these companies in the next 5 days or so. So don't ever get into the drunk the poison state when you have applied for a job. I know it's easier said than done. So how do we actually build that patience? There are various techniques to do that, but it all boils down to one basic principle, which is called distraction. You just distract yourself away from that loop of thoughts. For me, what I used to do is that I normally keep a job application tracker when I apply for a job, which means that I open a spreadsheet, and then whenever I apply for a job, then I just capture that details into that spreadsheet, telling like which date I have applied, which company, which job position, and which resume I have uploaded, because I used to send a customized resume for each job application. There was also another column called when I will follow up with them, maybe after 7 days or 15 days or whatever. And then I'll add that as a reminder in my phone to send a follow-up email. Now, when that is done, I try to distract myself away by going back to the job portal and searching for a better position than the one that I have applied for, right? So what I'm effectively doing is I'm distracting myself away from the thought of like when that company would respond back to me. At the same time, I'm increasing my chances of getting a response from one of the companies that I apply when I apply to multiple companies, right? Be very patient, good things take time, but obviously this question may come to our mind, right? Like, why should I be patient? Why can't they just review the resume and tell if it's a yes or a no? How much time is it going to take for them to tell a yes or a no? Totally fair point. And that is where we land on to the E of the pearl. E stands for empathetic. Be empathetic, right? In simple terms, empathetic just means that the ability to think from the perspective of another person, right? So if God appears in front of you and says, dude, you have been troubling me too much. I will give you one boon, and you cannot ask for any materialistic thing, but I can give you one skill set that you need to achieve your goals or dreams. If that happens, please ask for empathy. Trust me, I had first hand experience on this. Not God coming to me and asking, but empathy has massively helped me to increase my success in my career as well as in my personal life. That is one quality that will take you to places. So, how does the whole empathy thing relate to your job application and interview journey? Right? You think you are the perfect fit for the role that you are applying for, and maybe you are. But just imagine once you have sent out that application, just think from the perspective of the person who receives that application. Most likely, it is a talent recruiter in a company who will be managing multiple job openings. And for each job opening, he or she will be getting tons of applications, right? Tons of applications. And you need to realize that that person may not be a subject matter expert in your specific domain. What I mean by that, if you are applying for the position of a software engineer, the talent recruiter may not know the exact skill sets needed for that job. What he or she does is to cross-check and make sure that the job description and your profile closely matches. We are in India, from the number of people to the number of cultures we have, to the number of languages we speak, to the number of vehicles we have in road, to the number of jobs we have, to the number of applicants we have in plenty. We have in plenty. So you should really understand that when you send out your resume, it really stands out from the talent pool that has come for that particular job opening. How do you do that? A very simple step to start with is to have your resume as close to the job description as possible. If you think that the job description fits to your profile and skill sets, you just need to shamelessly use the same terminologies in the job description in your resume. Just realize that your resume need to impress not only the humans but also the ATS, the application tracking system algorithm, for you to get shortlisted for an interview. The second thing that you can do is that whenever you have your draft of resume ready, get that read by someone. It could be a friend, your brother, your sister, your wife or husband or whoever. Right? And that person need not be or shouldn't be ideally a subject matter expert. And all you are asking that person is to tell you back what they understood after reading the resume. And if it aligns with what you had in mind while drafting that resume, you're good to go. So with that, you have a tailor-fit resume according to the job description. You have sent that out, but you are still not getting any response. What should you do? That is where we nicely land onto the A of the pearl. A stands for aggressive. Be aggressive. Chase, chase, chase until you get a yes or a no from the talent recruiter. Reach out to them on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, email, whichever channel you find, right? Just follow up with them regularly until you get an update for your job application. When I say aggressive, don't be too aggressive and send them messages every day asking for a status update. At the same time, don't be over polite, which is something like you start your message like, sorry to bother you, but I wanted to check the status update. Don't do that. Save your sorries for real life situations. Unless you are calling them on a weekend or calling them on a midnight or non-working hours and asking for a status update, you are not bothering them. All we want to know is a yes or a no for our application. What if it is a no? What if you get rejected at the screening or after the interview? That is where we land onto the R of the pearl. R stands for reflective. Be reflective. What does that mean? If for some reason you are getting a rejection either at the screening phase or after the interview, you are taking a step back to analyze what we could improve for our next job application. As much lazy as we are, our brains are 5 to 10 times more lazy that it will not bother to analyze any situation. Rather, it will have a set of canned messages and it will throw them at you on each life situation. Let's say, for example, you get a rejection email from a company after an interview. What is that immediate thought that will come to you? For me, it will be mostly like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I didn't do a good job. Or maybe I shouldn't have told that in the interview at all, right? These are the sort of the canned messages that your brain will try to make you believe. But trust me, most of the time, this is far from the truth. So what you need to do is take a step back, analyze the sequence of things that happened in your entire interview journey, and genuinely ask yourself this question. What is that one thing I could have done differently to change the outcome of my situation? What is that one thing I could have done differently to change the outcome of this situation? You may not get an answer right away, but trust me, our subconscious minds are so powerful, it will work on this and then get you an answer sooner or later. We hear a lot that failures are the best teachers, right? But we don't often make use of that teachers to our benefit. So from now on, we are not going to let any mistake or failure leave us without taking a key lesson from them for our improvement in future. Now moving on to the final skill, L of the Pearl, which is very simple but extremely important, I would say. L stands for likable. Be likable. You increase your chances of getting hired or moving ahead in an interview if you are able to build a nice rapport with the person that you are interacting in every stage of your interview. We are dealing with another human being, and every human being takes a decision more out of their emotions than logic or rational. That is a proven science. So when I was attending interviews, and if that interview went well, not in terms of how I performed, but in terms of how much I learned from that conversation, I used to have this punchline at the end. I tell the interviewer, regardless of whether I get selected or not, I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. So whether or not it makes an impact to the outcome of my interview, I used to feel very happy and satisfied that I brought that conversation into a good closure. And it should be the same for that interviewer as well. When you genuinely appreciate someone, they will reciprocate. We have nothing to lose, right? Sometimes it can work miracles to the outcome of your interview. So that's it. To wrap up, we talked about Pearl. P stands for patient, be kind to yourself, distract yourself gracefully from over obsessing that you're not getting a response. E stands for being empathetic, build a resume that anyone can understand and that stays close to the job description as much as possible. Be empathetic to the poor talent recruiter who are struggling with hundreds or thousands of applications for each job opening. A for aggressive, chase until you get a yes or a no. Be aggressive and find the right balance of aggression when you do that. R stands for reflective. In case if you face a rejection, make sure that you're not leaving that situation without taking away a key lesson from it. And finally, L stands for being likable. Build a good rapport with whoever you're interacting. That can take you a long way in your career journey. I hope this was useful. So until you watch me in my next video, good luck and God bless.